We were set. I call the meeting to order. On Monday, February 3rd, 2025, at 6 p.m. at the town hall upstairs. Thank you for coming today. A motion to adopt the agenda that is presented.
Second.
Discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay. We have 2 minutes to do tonight. The first is the regular meeting of January 21st, 2025. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes that were presented? If not, somebody make a motion to approve the minutes of January 21.
So moved.
Kathy seconded? You got that thing? Kathy seconded? Got that?
When he's taking. I'm hearing.
Oh,
Yeah, when he's taking that.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the next set is the special meeting we had on January 27th. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes that were presented? If not, somebody make a motion to approve the meeting, the special meeting of January 27th minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? If no discussion is available, then let's take a vote. Everybody approve?
Right.
Opposed? Highway report. I guess Dave, before you go, just, we have excess weight permits for Renault Brothers, Valley Crane Service, and Newport and Sane Gravel Company, and Carroll Concrete. Typically, we approve the overweight permits, and we authorize the town administrator to sign the permits. Somebody want to make a motion to do that?
So moved.
Second.
No? Any discussion on the overweight permits? If not, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay. David, you wanna do your thing?
I don't know much about the grader because I
No.
learned in the discussion.
No, we'll do that, but how about the other stuff?
The update on the trailer, I don't think he's heard back on yet from
Okay.
the positives. And we've been working on the roads, we've been cutting up on the Cavell Road. We got a little bit of finish up there, but we've got a lot of trees up there. And we've done maintenance at the shop. We've had a few problems with the trucks, and we shimmed the grader blade up that needs to be shimmed. Other than that, that's about it.
Okay. The grader. There's been some discussion about the grader. According to Patty Merrill, we really don't have the funds to buy it. So the question is, do we want to, how do we want to proceed? Do we want to postpone it for a year or two? We could lease it as another option. But bear in mind, we have a lot of expenses coming up. We have the big culvert project and the one with the wall. And all those have to be funded, and then we have to get money back from FEMA or the state, who never is funding it. So the question is, what do we do? Do we postpone it a year? Or do we do something different?
I'd like to see a table for 1 to 2 years until we have the funds.
I would agree with that, pending, of course, the condition of our existing grader that presumably has more life to it. I'm not sure the hours on it right now, but I think I heard 5,000.
5,000.
So if we can make it through, I mean, there's been a lot of research done, that doesn't mean that's lost to me, I would think that's good research, but I can't see asking taxpayers to pay money right now when our tax bills are gonna go up and we don't have the money, and I think it's prudent to wait. If that, especially hearing what Hardy said, which was, it was basically unaffordable right now.
Joe, how did this come about now, after we got about 3 bids on different graders, or 2 bids? How do we come to the realization we don't have the money now?
John, you
Or
want to?
instead of, before we went out looking for bids?
Well, we did have the money, but with the projects that we've done with FEMA, we have to pay the contractors. So we've been borrowing from the capital budget and replaced it when we get paid from FEMA, but they're a little slow in paying. And we've got 2 big projects, as Joe mentioned now, that are gonna be over $1 million, the total of it. We'll have to pay those contractors that money, and if we don't have it, we'll have to borrow it, so if we have it in the capital budget, we could use it there. So I've thought about it a lot, and I just see the grader that we have now has only got 5,000 hours on it. That's only 350, a little over, about 350 a year, that's not a lot of hours. Years ago, we used to use the grader a lot, plowing and in the winter time and winging. And in the last 6, 7, 8 years, we haven't had any snow to have, so we have to use that. So we got the loader too to wing. So if you give it another year, 2 years, you're not gonna have over 7,000 hours on it, and it's still a good grader, and you could sell it outright for whatever money I think that they offered us in the trade, which was, I think, 97,000.
Are they readily available, like a car lot, or not? You have to order one, or?
Yeah, 6 months, I think.
Fairly available now. And I think that was one of the other things, when that was first brought up, it was thought that we probably would have to wait a year to 2 years before we could get it. They weren't such available as it is now.
Joe, Suzanne has a question.
Suzanne?
Thank you. Joe, could you please explain to us when these conversations with Hardy took place? Because I attended the special meeting and I don't remember he was as adamant about that in terms of unaffordability, and I don't see it in the minutes. So fill us in, if you would, about these conversations with Hardy that led you to the conclusion we don't have the money.
I can't answer that question, Suzanne, because I didn't have a discussion with Hardy.
I had a discussion with him. He, went through the lister's office for another reason, and he brought it up and he said, I have concerns about it, and that's how the conversation was generated. I can't speak to why it didn't come up in last meeting. In the last meeting, I don't know why.
Well, I think there was some concern after the meeting, that
Okay,
maybe we should take a look at something else. And I went and see Hardy and visited with him too. And with his impression and mine too, that we should keep it for another year or 2 years.
right. Why
And
was
that is probably in hindsight what we could have done 2 years ago. We did,
Well, the grader has been pushed out already another
yes.
2 years, so.
Yeah, well, the
It's
grader,
out of its limit now, but it is in good shape. I do agree with Joe.
It is in good
the
shape.
grader was postponed, I think, a year or 2.
It's overdue, yeah, it's 2
No,
years.
we was supposed, then with the flood, I think we postponed it a year or 2.
Yeah.
So we can now postpone it again, if that's what everybody wants to do.
Just out of curiosity, if you postpone it for 1 or 2 years, how much does it go up in price?
Who would know?
I mean, it's tough to project, but
I don't know, but I don't think it's gonna be that much.
Do you know where they're manufactured?
Excuse me?
Do you know where they're manufactured?
Caterpillar, I think, is manufactured in the US, I believe. And John Deere, I think it's the same.
And the parts come from New
I can't tell you, but I know the other grader that was in the bid, that was, partially made in China and partially assembled here.
York?
But, I don't think, I can't tell you for sure, but you never know, Wendy, because with the way the components are, there might be components coming from Europe or some other place, nobody knows. You know, but I think it's made in the US. And I agree with you, that would be my concern as well.
But Kobe did give us a list of his concerns versus, the John Deere, the one from China and the one from Cat. There are a lot of good ideas about, why the Cat, because they have the parts. They're not so local, they are local to get stuff done. So there's a lot of good reasons that Kobe had for that grader.
It's visibility out of the
Yeah.
grader.
And the visibility, right?
Right,
Um,
the parts too, just to add to you, what's that, I'm looking at this thing now, they're similar to the ones on the current grader. Which.
and they're familiar with that.
We're familiar.
And we had a long discussion, I know John did a lot of figuring as to what if we got a loan, what if we leased it? The interest rate, and how many years? And, you add up $60,000-$70,000 in interest on top of the cost of the machine. It's a lot of money.
You're better off to keep it and wait until
Keep
you
it.
got the money.
And then a discussion, lengthy one about, well, if we can get more than 85 or 95,000 for a trade if we sold it outright. We had a long discussion on that. So I felt we did a lot of talking about the grader, and then the discussions that individual folks had with, Hardy Merrill, that, the money's not gonna be there. And we've got that bridge we're paying for, and we're hoping interest rates are gonna fall in the next couple of years. So there's a lot of positives there to wait.
Well, I think you're better off to save the money and not lease it, because you end up paying more for a lease.
Right.
You're better off to own it.
I'd like to make a motion that we postpone it for 2 years and then take another look at it.
I don't want to say another year.
Do we have a second?
I was gonna ask a question.
Well, you can also look at it, if you vote for a 2-year extension, you can also take a look at it in a year, and if it's costing you a lot of money, then you could go ahead and reverse that.
Scheduled for one more year anyways?
Hmm?
Isn't it due in one more year?
Yeah.
The actual year is due next year.
Right.
Yeah, as long as we can look at it, we're not locked 2 years, if something happens and we need to address it earlier, we need to address it earlier. Then I would second that motion.
Do we have any other discussion?
We make a motion that we extend it for 2 years, but take a look at it after 1 year. To see how it is, the maintenance is coming.
So you can amend that in the motion.
Yes.
I would second that amendment.
The change? Do we have any more discussion on agreement?
How much do they depreciate per year? In other words, hanging on for, how much do they lose value?
Let's say that
You want to, how much will the one we have depreciate
Depreciate,
in
sorry.
another year? We don't know.
what I said before was, I think that we can sell that outright for at least what the companies were offering us for a trade, which was $97,000. So I don't think I'm gonna lose anything. I think you could sell it outright today for $150,000, just like nothing. I know the town of Athens bought one, it's a year older, and they paid 160, I think, for that. So I think it'd be in demand. I don't think you're gonna lose it.
Joe, I think Suzanne has another.
Suzanne?
Thank you, Kim. I'm just wondering to what extent Colby is aware of the fact that there's been this discussion with Hardy and that a likelihood is that we will postpone.
I don't know, Dave, have you talked to Colby about it?
Just this morning, he said if you're gonna lease it, you'd rather just keep the regular grader we got right now.
Did you hear that, Suzanne? Colby said if you're gonna lease it, he'd rather wait and keep the grader until we have an opportunity to buy a new one.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments?
And I think you have to do something, you've got to notify the bidders that we're not
Yeah.
awarding any
Yeah.
money to contract.
No, that needs to be a letter out.
Artie, did you?
Huh?
Artie would like to speak.
Hardy, go ahead.
Hi, actually, the capital budget plan shows the grader being purchased in 26, 27, 2 years out. That's when it was put into the capital plan, and we're budgeting money this year, 174,000 towards that. And we had to budget the rest of it in the coming year after that. So it was never planned to be purchased now in the capital plan.
Thank you, Harry.
The more reason why we should postpone it for a couple of years.
Why did it come,
Check with it, John.
why did it come up if it wasn't scheduled for 2 years?
I don't know. I can't.
I think we thought it was gonna take 2 years to get the grader.
That was
We had to,
Oh, okay.
we had to put in our that's what I understood from
Yeah.
the meeting a couple of weeks ago.
Any other discussion? So all in favor of postponing the grader for 2 years, that we look at taking another look in after a year, say aye? Opposed? Okay. The next item on the pilot is the paving. John and I talked this morning, and we have $498,000 to pay this year. 200,000 is a grant from the V-Trans, and the balance is what we didn't spend last year, plus what we have put into the budget for the coming year. So the question now is, what do we want to pave? There are some roads that really need it, and it's a good opportunity to fix them. So I don't know how. John made a suggestion that maybe we have some discussion on what roads need to be put on the list. John, you could talk about it.
Well, the proposal we were gonna do tonight to send out for bid is down on 121. And it's approximately 3,700 feet. And I did some figuring, and that probably is not only gonna cost about 200,000 to 225,000. So you've got an excess of close to $300,000. So it'd be better to find, I don't think you have to find it, is go to some other roads that need paving and have one big bid rather than a small one. And I think you may get a better price if you have more people bid on it. So it'd be, get with Kobe and go over it and see what other parts of town are in dire need of pavement.
And there is no rush to, I mean, we need to put it out for bid in the next meeting or two, but there's no great rush. That we don't have any deadline. The grant can't be used anyway until July 1st, and 120,000 of what we have can't be used until July 1st. So you can't pay it before July 1st anyway. When?
How much of the V-Trans money is passed through from federal money, do you know?
Don't know.
Like
I think
not-
it's all state money,
Okay,
but it might be federal money that was given to the state. I don't know.
and it's already in state's hands, do you think, or?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, we already have the grant.
It doesn't mean you have the money ourselves.
We are, well, I mean, we're approved for it, so the money will come. I don't think they can,
Yes, they can, they tried to last week.
well, I'm not sure. This
I'm
state
just
money,
saying.
so I-
State money, not
it's state money, so I don't think it's an issue.
Okay.
I don't know. David?
The only thing I'll say, I understand what John's saying about a bigger project, but if we let that go too much longer down to Cambridgeport, it's gonna be bad.
Oh, no, we're gonna pay it this year,
We're gonna pay it this year.
this year.
I just wanna add to it, so.
Well, the other spot I think Kobe was thinking about is from like Randy Lockerbie, from that back to Bright Orchard, because that's really bad in there too.
Right,
I think if you fit that in too.
I think that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
but you also have, back of the town here, but, that's.
School Street.
School Street, that's
Terrible.
all bad in there.
really bad.
So that's something we, need to consider.
It's not a very long stretch, but it's pretty bad.
It
What
is.
about Pleasant Street where it's just all,
I know, yeah.
okay,
So we're just gonna postpone, doing any bidding until we can get meet with Kobe and get some roads and make some decisions, which ones we should pay. And so the best use of the $500,000 that we have. Okay. We have to certify the highway mileage, the only change was the discontinuation of the Theros Mission Drive, which was 0.05 miles. That's all been approved, it's all been done with the state, so the only thing we need to have is a motion to accept the mileage for 2025. So somebody make a motion to accept that.
So moved.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Kim, you have anything for us?
yeah, well, you need all to sign the highway mileage down here, there's no names, just on all those lines, if they're all down, you just sign.
Do you have anything? As a clerk treasurer? Or anything
No,
else?
other than reminder, tax payments are due February 17th is a holiday, so if you slip them in the door, that's great, otherwise I will accept them on the 18th, that Tuesday. Town reports, they're available downstairs, I have some here, if anybody hasn't gotten them yet, I'll have them on town meeting day. Don't forget, on the 15th, from 10 to 12, we have our rabies clinic here at the town hall. Oh, we do have, Rick from Sullivan Power scheduled to speak, at February 18th meeting, or 19th, right?
Yes, because that's a holiday. So it's on
Tuesday is the 18th.
Tuesday is the 18th.
18th, we'll be on Tuesday.
Yeah, so he'll be here Tuesday, I'm hoping to have the, reports, the hard copies, I'm gonna email Jenna tomorrow, but I should have them in the next week. And they'll also be available electronically.
I think the town report is the best one we've ever done. I told that to Ken.
I like the pictures, I think it's gonna be, thank you, but
It's
I
really
think it'll
come
be
out-
very
really come out
helpful,
nice.
just maps on the backside,
Yeah,
everybody's always asking about that.
yeah, it's a great job.
Also.
Do we have anything for the personnel committee? The flood update. Morgan's not here. John, you have anything that?
The only thing is, drilling company was supposed to drill on Eastman Road for the block wall, last Tuesday or Wednesday, and they canceled out, so they're coming back in another date to do that, so that's progressing along, we're still in the engineering stages of that, so. And other than that, we have not received any more money, they really don't owe us a lot of money at this time, anyways. I think they only owe us for administration, which is close to $50,000, and the state owes us 7.8% of the total. And we won't get that until everything is finished, so you're talking about the end of this year.
So will we get that even though the block wall's not done, that goes out and could go out another year? So we could be looking at another year before the cat C.
I would hope that the block wall is done this fall. But you're not gonna get paid for, I doubt it this year. That's gonna be in the vicinity of $800,000.
They pay that up front. Will they pay that up front and then we
No, we,
pay the contractors?
We would, I would hope they were gonna pay up front with it like they did with the culvert on Fisher Hill, but that,
But they're not.
I haven't heard back.
Yeah, that was my question, yeah.
anything else? So the other item we have today is the regular dog and wolf hybrid ordinance. It is basically it hasn't changed. It's been officially okayed by the town attorney. So what we need to have is obviously a discussion if need be, but we need to have a motion to accept the amended dog and hybrid ordinance.
I know we've discussed it, and looking it over. I know we just discussed around leashing your dog on public roads, but not all public roads, but you mentioned several of them.
Yeah, it stays the same. It's certain roads you can't break, but certain places you can.
Would you like me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the public roads, the dog control area in which dogs being walked must be restrained on a leash. Main Street, Pleasant Street, Kidder Hill from the intersection with Main Street to the covered bridge. School Street, Townsend Road from Village Center to the Grafton Trails to the Outdoor Center. 121 East from the Grafton Village Garage to Whitney Park. 121 West from the Village Center to 94 Holtonville Road. Middletown Road from the Village Cemetery to the intersection with Main Street. Fire Pond Road from Village Park Walking Trail entrance to the intersection with Main Street. Chester Road from the Village Center to the driveway at 511 Chester Road. Wilson Park and the GIA's ball field. That's it.
Nothing on Stage Road.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nothing,
Stage? No.
Nothing on- I guess my concern is roads like Stage Road or even the roads that I'm on, Parker Hill. People aren't leashing their dogs get away, a dog might get hit, or go into somebody else's property. And cause a disturbance. Or if dog gets hit by a car. There's nothing in there about.
Well, that's their problem.
Yeah.
I'll just-
I don't think, if they can't control their dog, that's something we shouldn't do. Go ahead.
I was gonna address it to Anna, but in the town park, do dogs not have to be leashed? I didn't,
It should be.
well, I don't, I think
The fire pond.
As
it's
far as I
the
know,
the
park
entrance
was,
to the town
you have to have a
park
leash in the
to-
park.
village center, I think is what it said.
If that's
it
not,
doesn't, I'm reading
if
it.
that's not in there, they should be in there.
So the. It isn't in there, as far as I can read it, I'll read it carefully again, Main Street, Pleasant Street, Kidder Hill. From Main Street to the bridge, School Street. Townsend Road from the center to the trails, 121 East from the garage to Whitney Park, 121 West. From the center, apparently you can go over the bridge with an unleashed dog, to 94 Houghtonville Road. Middletown Road from the cemetery to the intersection of Main Street. Fire Pond from the Village Park. Walking trail entrance to Main Street.
That's the problem, it's specific.
It's not specifically in the park, but Wilson Park is listed.
Actually, all the parks, they should be.
I was gonna say that too,
Yeah,
They should contain all parks.
all town property. You got the swimming hole out there,
Well, that's not, oh, yeah.
should just say all town property.
Yeah, just everywhere.
Of course,
well, it also says, I mean, Grafton Trails has their own rules, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, they do. In other words, so it says Townsend Road to the center, but it doesn't say what's up in the woods. Right now, they're posted in the Grafton Trails are all to, our leash. You have to have a dog.
Oh, so you can't have an unleashed dog in the park.
That's
So that covers it, so it's not.
I agree. I think this should, I agree with that.
What?
I think it should have all parks.
Yeah, all parks. I think that should change it.
And I like to use all town property. Should,
Yeah, in other words, yeah, the
Yeah.
swimming pool.
I'd like to, why don't we just make, if we get to a vote on this thing, we'll just add that to it.
Cemeteries are town property as well, right? Yeah, I don't understand, I guess I must have been sleeping when you were doing this. Why not everywhere? It's so confusing just to say here, 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 here. And you're not gonna enforce it outside of town. You have the same concern I have with Kittery Hill Road down there with people off their leash, dogs off their leash. It's like, it's so much easier just to say everywhere and then not enforce it in the other places.
Yeah, but you can't, if you're gonna have something, you have to enforce it.
You're not gonna enforce it in town. You're not gonna, how can you?
Well, somebody who
Sure
has
you
a
can.
dog off leash is
Yeah.
liable.
But who's going to make it happen?
Well,
A whistleblower.
it'll,
It doesn't work. It's not gonna work. Anyway, do what you want. No.
Who's gonna get the ticket?
Yeah, it's confusing.
we can give tickets. And if there's a complaint, we have, the service, and they'll come in and go to the individual with the dog and give them a fine. So it's enforceable.
Yeah, it will be a civil matter enforced and subject to blah, blah, blah. Yeah, civil procedure.
It's
It is
with the,
enforced.
it's with the, you know, the dog guys we pay money for, what is the
ACO, animal control.
yeah, they're the ones. You just tell them there's a dog running and they come and get it. They'll give them a fine. or
And there are a
whatever.
bunch, and the fines are
Yeah.
subsequent to, you know, first, second, third offense, all, and they're various for removing waste, disturbing peace, unconfined, and heat, et cetera, running at
Do
large.
that outside the village as well. And aren't town roads town property? The roads themselves?
I don't know if you can consider it property, I think, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we maintain
Yes.
them, we maintain them, we have the right of ways.
I think this was brought up before, I think I brought it up
know.
before. Yeah, I, there was some strong opinion that it really should only be in the village-ish.
Well, I mean, the reason, I mean, you have people who live out in Hopeville or out, you know, I mean, and they wanna take their dog to go get the mail or something, they're gonna put a leash on them out there in the middle of nowhere, I mean,
I don't have my dog on the leash, it listens to me.
yeah, I mean, you know, I think it's, you
Trained up, sure.
know, those rural places there is,
That was the argument.
that was the argument.
Yeah, and I get, you do have the problem in the village more than you do out.
Yeah.
the village.
And if you live on River Road and somebody has a neighbor whose dog runs all over your lawn.
Yeah, right.
Nothing, nothing.
Well, you call your neighbor up and tell them, I mean, you know.
They have guns and they're not gonna do that. Yeah. Sorry, she's not gonna do that. Whatever.
Well, I could speak for our two pups, because our driveway's 2/10 of a mile long, we have fields all around our house. So that, you know, they run in our property, but once I get to the road and I cross the road, they have no familiarity with those cars. I mean, it's starting to be Parker Road, it's starting to be Parker Hill, a racetrack. So I have to put them on a leash, cross the road. So I like to go down Doug Road. I'm afraid they're gonna get hit. Another neighbor, she has her dog on a leash all the time. And the people use Parker Hill a lot to go up, and their dogs are on a leash. Well,
Well, nobody prohibits you from putting your dog on a leash. If you wanna have, you can.
So. Am I hearing that we're agreeing that at the very least, it needs to be amended to include all town parks?
Yes.
And cemeteries.
And
Cemeteries,
cemeteries,
yeah. Town land.
and town land, yes, because this is, if it's not a designated park.
to see all the roads, but I guess that's not gonna happen.
What we need is,
We're
a-
outnumbered, Kathy, we're outnumbered.
I know.
what we need is,
Well, you have a vote.
we need a motion, we need a motion to move the thing forward with the changes. If somebody will make that motion.
Well, I want to be on it, so.
If we don't have a motion, we can't vote on it, so then we still have the old, then we have the old ordinance.
Amend it to all roads.
I would make a motion if it was amended to all roads.
Second,
Yeah, parks and cemeteries and town land.
you know, that,
That's right.
just cover everything. See how it goes.
Then I'm making you that motion. Does anyone want to second that?
Second,
What's your motion?
That it be amended to be all town roads as well as
All town parks.
all town parks,
Cemeteries.
cemeteries, town land, including the swimming hole, and town roads.
Well, not town roads.
No, we're saying in town, I'm saying in town
Oh,
roads.
you're saying town.
Yeah, Kathy seconded that. That was the, because no one made the motion to pass that.
Listen,
Not to get too picky, but are all roads in town roads or are some of them state highways?
we don't have a state highway.
But once they,
it used to be.
Well, what's one here, but really,
It's 121?
yeah,
Used to
no,
be.
it's just state aid, right?
huh?
It's just state aid.
It's state aid, I don't think it's a state road.
No.
So it's a town road to the town boundary.
Right.
It's a
Yeah.
town road. Why don't you just say in the town of Grafton, is that what you're saying, in the town of Grafton?
At this juncture,
Because here's what I want to say about this, if the dog does something, it's not in the village. I have a leg to stand up and say to my neighbor, there's a rule about this, you need to keep your dog on a leash. If not, there's no problem, there's not gonna be a problem, I just think it's very confusing to segregate little roads here and there and property. So it should be all of the town, I mean, it's just easier.
Well, dogs should be able to run on private property.
Oh, without a doubt.
That's fine, that's fine.
I'm
without
not
a doubt.
saying that.
I'm not saying that.
Make sure that's clear.
Oh, yeah, not, this is not about private property, 100%.
So you could take all that language out is what you're saying.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
take all this language out, just put in the town of Grafton,
That's it.
all dogs need to be on the leash.
So if I don't own a dog, but if I go down and get my mail and my dog is on me and goes steps on the road, I'm in violation?
Yep.
Well, if you have a
I
sheriff
can't,
sitting
sorry,
by
I can't buy that one.
Nobody's gonna complain, nobody's gonna complain about your dog.
If your dog's waving in your car?
No, my mailbox is on town road.
Oh,
So I'm walking down and the dog is running there and he goes on the road and I'm getting the mail. I guess I'm in violation.
Why is Pleasant Street different from your road then? Why can't Mary have her dog, her imaginary dog, getting her mail, her imaginary mailbox?
Exactly.
What's the difference? I mean, why have one at all then, really? If we're saying dogs behave themselves.
Well, I know what you're saying, but I know if my neighbor's dog come to me or is in the road, I'd call him and say, hey.
Yeah.
You take care of your dog.
Exactly.
Nothing would stop you from doing that. Nothing would stop, there are no dog police in town.
No.
So if the enforcement mechanism is whistleblowers, then someone would have to call the town and complain that your dog put a paw in the road. But if you lived outside the village and someone's dog was being a nuisance, you would have a leg to stand on, that's why they said, to say, you shouldn't be doing this. We do not have enough enforcement in town to really believe that anyone's gonna go around to people's driveways and see if they're getting their mail. You actually stated that the enforcement mechanism was whistleblowing. And so, sure, call your neighbor and complain if that's the enforcement that you want undertake. If your neighbor refuses to listen to you, at least you feel like you would have recourse. So I don't see a harm in having it when the enforcement mechanism is simply whistleblowing.
Or if something happens, then you're
Or-
protected by this
Someone has to report that it happened,
ordinance.
yeah, someone has to complain.
I think the danger is a lot more because it's populated area, just like a septic pumping ordinance. It's so populated, it needs to have an ordinance just for the village. Same thing for dog leash, you've got a lot of close proximity, houses in close proximity. And tours.
But
Yeah, a dangerous dog is a dangerous dog, whether it's in close proximity or further away.
And contaminating our aquifer anywhere is a danger to us all as well, whether it's rural or urban town. Danger is danger, and that's why you're trying to make ordinances about,
Yeah,
is the danger.
and I would say that, that I don't actually have a big problem with dogs. I'm neither in favor of the ordinance nor against the ordinance. I'm not in favor of it being crowded with Venetian. I think it's asking for trouble. That's,
I think that your point, the ambiguity, and
yeah.
if you have 3 houses in a row on Right Orchard Road, just say, or something like that, and the dog from house A comes bounding down the main drag, and that dog should be on the property, it's fine, do whatever you want, but should be in control. I don't know, I mean, it's hard for us to decide what's populated and what isn't, you know, it's like, I think it's a fine line, and I agree, it becomes tricky. Well, this is for the whole town anyway, but
So what is the actual motion?
it's evolved, apparently.
Well, we need a motion to
Yeah.
for the vote of discussion.
That's amended again.
The motion would be to approve the dog ordinance that has been amended and brought forth today with the changes that it includes. It is essentially town roads, parks, cemeteries, swimming hole, etc. I mean, it's like swimming hole. I think the concern about saying all of Grafton makes people concerned that their backyard is not, that we're not presuming to control dogs on someone's private property. So I don't mind that it says on town roads and not therefore all of Grafton. So it would say all parks, cemeteries, town land, swimming holes, and town roads. That's cumbersome, is that really? That's my motion.
Do we have a second to this motion?
I'll second it.
Do we have any more discussion? If not, shall we call a vote? Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay,
No?
go.
Okay, so we'll go back to the drawing boards, I guess, and put it on the agenda for the next meeting. Do we have any other business? Public comment? Okay, Lenny?
So I have a question for the board. So every month Joe writes a chairman's report for the Grafton News. And I was just wondering if everybody is in agreement with everything that goes in this chairman's report. Every month, does Joe run it by everybody on the board before he puts it in?
No, I haven't. But I can.
No, I'm just curious if you speak for the board and in light of that, leading into Bill Kearns' email to, I guess it was to you guys and to the DRB and to the Wyndham Foundation about the cheese company, was he, are they speaking for the entire board when they email?
They're not speaking for me.
No, and also there were other
Yeah, there are
private
people on.
citizens on there, no, I did not have anything
I know it looks like that, but
to do with it.
I was not in favor of that at all. I'm still upset over it.
My concern is it is done from a town email address.
It was
Yes,
Bill's,
yes. So it looks like it represents the town.
I did not know that.
Yeah. It's a big deal. And my last concern is, if I were the company that was buying the cheese company, if I saw that email, I wouldn't want to be in this town. I wonder who was kind of in charge of them, you know, it is so unprofessional. Anyway, it's not that they will ever see it.
Any other public comments? Yes.
Suzanne did have her hand up a minute ago.
Suzanne, you have anything?
Ask her again.
Suzanne, do you have any public comment?
Sorry, I have a question for Kim about the pre-town meeting. Kim, will there be a candidates forum at that meeting?
Yes.
Pardon?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. And also, I was wondering what the status of the short-term rental proposal is.
Well, it's still on the select board's to-do list, but it will get to it.
That's correct. I have not, I know I've been involved in a fair amount. I have not met with, Morgan to go over it yet again, and there has been no movement since the last meeting.
At the last meeting, we had some public comments, so we're gonna
There's
review
a lot
that
of
again
comments.
and try to make some changes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other public comment? If not, the next regular meeting will be on Tuesday, February 18th, 6 p.m. here. Somebody make a motion to adjourn?
So
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay, so I guess we're adjourning at 6:47. Thank you for everybody's comments. Anna, will you give this to Kim?